Mr. Minister, thank you so much for joining us today. Good to see you in Washington, D.C. Can you highlight for us any recent agreements and initiatives that you have made to facilitate economic cooperation between the U.S. and Nigeria?
Well, first of all, we have the Binational Commission that is ongoing. We just recently concluded the meeting of the 6th Binational Commission, which we alternate between the United States and Nigeria. So we had it in Abuja, and I'm visiting Washington, D.C. off of the back of that. There are several issues that arose from that, including, of course, AGOA, which affects the whole of Africa, the African Growth Opportunities Act. We are seeking to see it extended by the United States, Congress, because it is useful to both the continent of Africa and the U.S. It's useful to their economies. So,
let's talk a little bit about some of the security challenges that Nigeria is facing, such as Boko Haram and other insurgent groups. What is some of the things that you're doing to address these security challenges?
First of all, I don't know how much you know, but Boko Haram is almost completely degraded in Nigeria. I don't know if you heard about the son of Barnawi even surrendering recently. So you have about 1,000 insurgents that have surrendered. Our challenge now is processing them on time and putting them through the criminal justice system. So Boko Haram is, for all intents and purposes, a thing of the past. You do have cells here and there that every now and again may attack certain communities, but other countries like Somalia and others are looking to emulate our model
of how you dealt with the insurgency.
Sulhu and Hudna and all of that. So
I was asking you this because recently was the 10-year anniversary of the kidnapping of the girls in Borno. So I was wondering if that is something that weighs on the minds of the Nigerian government in terms of making sure this doesn't happen again, especially in those areas in the north.
Absolutely, and these are some of the measures that have been taken to prevent such things from happening in the future. But suffice it to say that the best way to solve this, stop such things from happening, to bring an end to terrorism, to insurgency in our region is development. But I also, want to speak about the kidnapping that took place of those girls. It was very tragic. It was unfortunate. It was good to see that, many of them regained their freedom, even though it took such a long time. But my concern also is the commoditization of the whole thing. It became commodified. As if there weren't other incidents that had taken place, and that
are you talking about how
the
it was
commodification
was amplified or
yes,
highlighted?
it became a brand. It became a brand for it became
hashtag
commercial.
Free Our Girls.
Yeah, some took advantage of it. It became commercial, and there were some NGOs that sought to even leverage off of that. And that's wrong, because it was a tragedy. I mean, these are real lives, these are people that were experienced a tragedy, their families and all of that. And it wasn't the first time that had happened. And then it was also given, in some cases, a religious twist and all of that, which is wrong, So dwelling on that as if it is some kind of negative brand that Nigeria has to continue to bear is wrong. Where we have serious issues that we're tackling that have to do with our population, and I think it's best that and my hope is that we don't have to experience something like that again.
Right. So you're saying that the way it was talked about and amplified in international media,
It's
took on
okay
a life of its
it's
own.
okay to even talk about it,
Yeah.
but to commodify it, I think it's wrong.
I remember that moment in itself because one of the reasons why it became very well known was the former president Barack Obama's wife, Michelle Obama. I think she got into the campaign, and the argument was that we need more celebrities or people that are very well known to speak out. Otherwise, these young ladies will never be.
Not as if the Nigerian government wasn't trying to do its best to rescue them.
Yeah.
And we have had other incidents that were not commodified the same way, where government did not require all that attention and campaigning to do what is right. We had a train incident where people were kidnapped, and it was government that rescued them. And nobody has gone back now to report that the gang leader himself was caught. You know, the gang that carried out that raid on the train
girls,
and kidnapped people on that train. They were all busted. They were caught. But you don't hear about that. And
So
people just move on. So
you'd say
exactly.
there's peace in northern Nigeria right now.
There is peace.
People can go invest.
There is peace. They can come and invest. We have challenges with banditry, which we're equally tackling in the northwestern part of Nigeria. But you have to also bear in mind that from Ethiopia to Senegal, Africa is confronting all of these challenges. So, but in Nigeria, there's oftentimes an effort, a deliberate effort to reduce it to Muslim versus Christian, or this tribe versus that tribe. And that is wrong, because it's happening in other countries as well. But it doesn't get defined in that manner, or it doesn't get commodified. So I think, it's time, we bring that to
move
an
past
end.
that.
Yes.
Okay. Another issue that comes to mind when we talk about security in the region is some of the, the transfers of power. We've seen some of the coups d'etats in countries like Niger, Burkina Faso. What is Nigeria's stand? I don't know whether you still have the chairmanship of ECOWAS. What is your stand on what is happening in these countries?
We still have the chairmanship of ECOWAS. ECOWAS has removed the sanctions that it imposed on those countries. ECOWAS has its door open to them to remain in ECOWAS, and even exiting ECOWAS, even after a pronouncement, the reality on the ground takes much more, because, for instance, we all have one common ECOWAS passport. So there will be a need to print new passports. There are communities in the millions living in each other's countries. So the status of those communities would have to be defined. They may have to require new passports, new identity, residency, and so on and so forth. So it's a process. With the CFA, there's even the issue of currency. So it comes with a lot of things that require a considerable period of time to become a reality. Our hope is that it will not become a reality, and that they will remain in the ECOWAS fold. We consider them our brothers and our sisters, and we will continue to make efforts to engage with them, that they remain. But the choice is, of course, up to them. They're sovereign entities. They decide what they want to do.
But obviously that was not the reaction, the initial reaction when we saw some of these coups d'etats. Nigeria, as a regional leader in the beginning, was very critical of that.
Yes,
what
Nigeria and ECOWAS imposed sanctions. We realized that the sanctions were not yielding the desired effect, which was the whole idea of the sanctions was not to punish the people. And ECOWAS is about the community. That's why in the name, It's eponymous. It's economic community of West African states. So we put the community, put the people first.
Not the
and
leaders.
decided, okay, they may have a style of government that is not acceptable to ECOWAS, and that those countries signed an agreement saying that they will not have. But we put the people first. The people were suffering. The sanctions were hitting the people. There was Lent, there was fasting, and as a result of that, the leaders of ECOWAS decided, let's remove the sanctions. And if the sanctions were becoming the legitimating factor for those regimes, then the sanctions are no longer there. Now it's between them and their people. It's up to them to deliver for their people if they can.
How does Nigeria view the African Continental Free Trade Area, and what strategies are in place to maximize its benefits for Nigeria?
Nigeria is fully part of it. If you look at the activities of Nigerian banks, only 2 weeks ago, the executive secretary of the African Continental Free Trade Area was in Lagos. He signed an agreement with Zenith Bank, referred to as, I believe, Smart AFC FTA, where Zenith Bank, a Nigerian bank, is providing the platform for AFC FTA to function for businesses. Prior to that, UBA had provided a facility for funding SMEs, small and medium scale enterprises across Africa, so that they can utilize the African Continental Free Trade Area. And of course, Nigeria is fully part of the efforts towards strengthening the main arteries of the AFC FTA, like the blood flow for it to function. And those are the trade and transport corridors. So you've got the Abidjan-Lagos trade and transport corridor. In Nigeria, you have Lakaji, Lagos, Kano, Jibia trade and transport corridor that links to Maradi in Niger Republic. You see, that's why I'm saying some of these things are difficult to just reverse overnight, because at the moment Nigeria is building a rail road from Kano to Maradi, for instance. Nigeria has built, not even today, as far back as 2002, 2003, Nigeria built the West Africa gas pipeline that is delivering Nigerian gas all the way to Ghana through Republic of Benin and Togo. And now Ghana is producing gas that goes the other way. So these are the sort of linkages and arteries that are required to make it a reality.
Okay. As one of the most rich countries on the continent, naturally blessed, Nigeria, how are you leveraging your natural resources in international trade negotiations?
We are leveraging it in many ways. To begin with, it has taught us how to negotiate, because we've been producing oil since 1956-57. So we have a depth when it comes to negotiating with others, other countries, particularly countries that are more developed than us. Okay, with our African brothers and sisters, we go easy because we want to unite. We want to unite. Yeah, but so because we have that depth, we have Nigerians that have worked in the petroleum industry, that have worked in international law firms, that have worked in international accounting firms, and they're bringing in all of that expertise. And that's why negotiations, when some look at Africa and think, oh, but you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be cheated, I think it's an insult, because we know exactly what we're doing, we know where we're going, and we're going to get there.
And finally, Mr. Foreign Minister, Nigeria, one of the few countries in Africa that has had a peaceful transfer of power. But how many, 4 or 5 governments now in
We've had violence? 7 successive elections. We have elections every 4 years.
Absolutely. One other thing you can teach the continent, how have you been able to do it? What some of the lessons that other countries on the continent can learn from you?
Well, Nigeria is a diverse country. Our constitution also protects the rights of all, and insists on the participation of all parts of the country and all religions. So that is why we laugh when some people say one religion is discriminating against another in Nigeria, or there's conflict, and people. You have groups that want to see Nigeria break up, that come here to Washington D.C. They hire very expensive lobbyists that go to Congress, and they tell them lies about Christians being persecuted, as if, I don't know if you watched that movie Spartacus.
Yes,
it's ridiculous. This is 21st century Nigeria. So we are we have that model, and we celebrate our diversity, and that diversity has become strength. We have
makes you stronger.
We have 6 former Nigerian heads of state living in Nigeria in peace.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We don't see that often in many parts of the continent, so
it
you're
will happen.
Ahead. Yes. Mr. Foreign Minister, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.